Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Lim Nakrin. You know, our top story that we're following right now is the tropical storm Debby, and it has slammed into Florida, and now it turned into a tropical storm starting to trek through the southeast, and that'll soon bring her to Georgia. And here's a look at just some of the damage that we've been seeing in the path of what is now Tropical Storm Debby. We do have our first alert meteorologist, Cutter Martin, who is joining us now live from Savannah. And Cutter, you've been following the latest there. What do we expect?
Yeah, we're going to be on the road here for the next little bit. We're getting to Savannah, not quite there. Rain certainly slowing us down, maybe a little hard to see here out the window, but it's coming down pretty steadily. We're now just inside that Candler County line. So we have passed Macon, roughly halfway between Macon and the city of Savannah, and we're in steady rain. You can see first alert radar right there. We're kind of in that upper left-hand corner of that shield or that blob of rain, the lightest rain that we will see this entire event, but yet it is rain. The roads are soaked here. I-16, wet roads, thankfully minimal traffic. I think people are aware the weather's not the best today, so they've found their alternates. They maybe shifted their plans, but we're going to be getting into some heavier rain, and I think that rain is going to be what this system is known for, and really what is going to cause the issues for the state of Georgia, especially coastal Georgia, South Georgia, Southeast Georgia into the low country of South Carolina, really the I-95 corridor from Jacksonville to Savannah up to Charleston. Not just how heavy the rain is, but the duration of the rain, Joy. The system kind of doing something not unheard of, but a little unusual, putting on the brakes, and we're going to see it slow down. So we're talking 24 to 36 hours straight of rain, and many of those hours will include heavy rain, perhaps some very intense rainfall rates causing street flooding. And in addition to that, we're going to be tracking some winds. There's at least some risk of power outages and some trees and limbs coming down, especially southwest of Savannah. Also, the risk of tornadoes, and then compounding all of these issues is the fact that we're going to have a strong onshore flow. You know, think about a tropical system, as you can see on first alert radar there, centered over Jacksonville. Winds rotate around that counterclockwise, which means the winds are going to be blowing onshore. So we typically in southeast and coastal Georgia rely on our rivers and our watersheds to get water from the city out safely into the ocean and to keep flooding at a minimum. Unfortunately, though, that process is going to be hindered because water levels are going to come up from the beaches, and that too will also contribute to flooding. So this is a scenario where we have 2 to 3 unique factors with this storm, and they're all kind of working simultaneously to increase the risk of flash flooding. This could end up being a pretty historic storm flooding-wise for the southern half, really southern third of the state of Georgia.
Yeah, and you know, Governor Kemp has issued a state of emergency for this storm and has actually sent some 2,000, or is deploying some 2,000 National Guard troops to the southern part of our state for all the reasons that you've stated, Cutter. Of course, so many of our viewers are in the metro Atlanta area. It's really a different story in metro Atlanta, right?
That's kind of the crazy thing, but also the nice thing about the first alert forecast data has come so far. Chatting with people on my social media accounts, feel free to give me a follow, Cutter Martin on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter. They were saying they were worried about last minute changes to the forecast, and they were comparing their experience with Hurricane Hugo back in the late 80s that, you know, famously impacted South Carolina to their experience this go around. And what we had to remind them is that forecasts have evolved so far, and they have become so much more accurate, even if there is sometimes some uncertainty. So we're very confident in the fact that this initial blow of the system, we're not really looking at much negative weather in Atlanta, a few spotty showers. If anything, that will make it feel nicer outside in metro Atlanta. This is really a Macon, and more so south of Macon problem, back towards Savannah, up to Charleston, and on up the East Coast, whereas it looks like metro Atlanta is going to avoid the worst of it by far, but still some uncertainty in the far extended portion of the forecast as we get into Thursday, Friday. What does Debby do, the remnants of Debby, late week? Does it try to move back inland, spreading some of that rain deeper into the inland portions of the southeast, or does it get out of here finally right up the East Coast? Still some questions impacted Atlanta and North Georgia compared to what's happening to the south. We will, though, be still watching that Thursday, Friday forecast. Already changing. Even if we do up the rain chance, Joy, it's not going to be the same type of scenario that we're now driving into here in South Georgia.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for doing that, Cutter. And I know Cutter is going to be bringing us live reports, throughout our later shows. Of course, we start live with our traditional broadcast at 3 p.m. Thank you so much, Cutter. Have a safe trip. All right, so the other major story that we're following, it is back to school for students in so many districts across Georgia. So, first day back in Fulton County, and it's 8 more school districts all across the metro that are back to the books today. And again, not just Fulton County, but Gwinnett County, DeKalb County schools, and Fulton County, of course, is the state's 4th largest district. Atlanta News First Don Shipman explains it's a very first day of school, not just for some of the students, but also for many teachers as well.
For some, a bundle of nerves as more than 87,000 students arrive for their first day of class at Fulton County's 104 schools. The Johnson family just moved to Metro Atlanta, so not only a new city to call home, but also a brand new school district.
Friends, nice teachers, classes, math, social studies, science, the normal school stuff.
I'm really looking forward to making friends, get a good education.
That good education will come from some 400 new teachers district-wide. Aggressive summertime recruitment paid off. Now, the principal here at Herds Ferry Elementary School says that along with orientation, those new teachers will be assigned mentors.
Somebody to just walk them through the everyday life of a teacher, because there's so many things outside of the instructional day that need to happen.
Where Fulton County is struggling is at the district's 2 transportation centers. They're still down some 100 bus drivers. The district urging eligible drivers, those with a CDLB license, to apply ASAP.
No more electronics.
Back at Herds Ferry Elementary, a big welcome sign helping to greet the more than 700 pre-K through 5th grade students back to class, and helping to ease those first day jitters for both the kids and their parents.
Want them to have a good day, of course, and meet new friends and, get acclimated to the new school and everything. But relief, too, because they're going to school.
In Sandy Springs, Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
Thanks so much to Don for that report. It's not just Fulton County, it's also DeKalb County that's back to school again, one of 8 more school districts across Metro Atlanta back to the books again today. Here's Atlanta News First Rebecca Schramm with our back to school coverage from South DeKalb.
It's day 1 of the 2024-2025 school year here in DeKalb County, and look at that. I'm at Chapel Hill Middle School, where they've got the signs welcoming students back to the building. They also welcomed a special visitor. Now starting his 2nd year as superintendent of the DeKalb County School District, Dr. Devon Horton tells me he can feel the momentum.
We're changing the culture here.
He says they're investing in students' social and emotional health, getting them ready for college, the workforce, or entrepreneurship.
What's really great for us is our security. We also have now, for the first time, we're in the process of hiring a security officer for every single one of our elementary schools, right? That's a big deal when we talk about safety.
The district does have its challenges. Substitutes are having to fill in on day 1 to cover a few teacher vacancies and bus driver openings. But Dr. Horton says the number of unfilled spots is down from this time last year. On this first day of school at Chapel Middle School, I spoke with a trio of 8th graders. What are you most excited about?
I'm just ready to learn a bunch of new things in 8th grade, different math. It's my favorite subject.
And I'm ready to meet new teachers and students.
And they're ready to dig in and get serious in their last year before high school.
Trying to get my work done and maybe, not be on my phone as much.
Our message for students, stay ready and be locked in, because we're going on an educational journey that's going to be unforgettable.
In South DeKalb County, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.
And, as we head back to school, teachers unfortunately often end up digging into their own wallets just to buy school supplies. But Atlanta News First Sawyer Bussey visited Benteen Elementary School in Atlanta to witness a big surprise, helping out some wonderful teachers.
Today is a celebration.
We're going to celebrate our awesome teachers in this building. Today, teachers, we have a special surprise just for you.
A thank you to our teachers who help raise us, help us become the adults we are today, who often inspire us to succeed.
It makes them ready for the world. It makes them ready for college. It makes them ready to know that I am loved, somebody cares about me, somebody cares for me, and somebody cares what happens to me in this world.
Studies show that teachers spend between $500 and $750 of their own money every year on things their students need.
Because they care, it's hard work.
Here at Atlanta's Benteen Elementary, a local company is making sure teachers have fewer things to worry about as the school year begins.
This really takes some of the burden off of teachers who are trying to care for students whose families struggle financially.
Stressful getting their schedules, figuring out the bus, figuring out lunch routine, everything. But then on top of that, it's a really expensive time of year.
Benteen is a Title I school. The kids have free breakfast and lunch. Many of the parents struggle financially. Teachers step in to fill the gaps.
Whoa! Thank you, thank you!
I think I have the best in the world. I'm sure every principal feels that way, but I'm convinced that we have the right people in this building to make things happen for children this year.
Teachers kept commenting that the event felt like Christmas. They were shocked that they could take a whole box of granola bars and not have to open it and take a few. They commented on how good it felt to feel supported as they support our future generations.
Some of the kids come in hungry or miss breakfast, so we'll have stuff for the kids to eat.
Sometimes mundane things like markers and glue can symbolize possibilities. In Atlanta, Sawyer Bussey, Atlanta News First.
And we have much more information on back to school, everything from supplies and the districts going back to school on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Also, our free mobile news app. Thanks for joining us.